Today, we're wallpapering, and I've got some tips and tricks you might not see on other YouTube channels. Stay tuned. The first thing I have to share about hanging wallpaper is that the process is a lot easier than it used to be. But still, it can at times be frustrating. So my first tip is to be patient and take your time. There are folks who say you can do a whole room like this in a day, and that's true. But I say give yourself a few days, maybe even a week. You'll be really glad you did. Wallpapering a whole room like I am, there's going to be a place in the room where the last piece of wallpaper you hang butts up against the first. Now, in some rare occasions that might all work out magically, but most of the time this is where there's going to be a mismatch. And what you want to do is make sure that that mismatch is in the least noticeable place in the room. In this case, it's going to be behind the door and above the door. Now, this is one of the most important things to do, and I can't stress it enough. Begin with the end in mind. It's a very important tip and one that you're not likely to see in other YouTube videos. Now, pasting wallpaper has changed a lot since the 80s. This is not your grandma's wallpaper. Now, if you choose a pre-pasted wallpaper like I did, then there's no need for a big bucket of paste, no need for a giant wallpaper brush like this. All you need is a couple of paperweights and a good spray bottle with a steady stream. What you want to do is get the wallpaper nice and wet. And really, you want to get every spot in the wallpaper wet. So just go ahead and keep spraying and spray the whole sheet. Hanging wallpaper is also much easier than it used to be. As you can see, one person can easily hang a strip of wallpaper by themselves. That was not the case in the 80s, trust me. So the first step is to make sure that you're matching the pattern and lining up the wallpaper. You also want to overlap a bit on the ceiling and trim it. That's because it's never exactly straight, so you want to have some flexibility. I'm really lucky because this is a super easy pattern to match. Not all of them are that easy, but you want to start on this edge where there's the overlap, and you want to line it all up. And I usually do it really the whole length of the wallpaper. I want to get the piece in and aligned really nicely. Bottom part. And again, continue to match the pattern. Once you're happy with the placement, then you're going to want to smooth out any imperfections. And of course, I'm not happy with the placement, I'm still adjusting. Now this is my absolute favorite wallpapering tool. It has just the right amount of moisture, just in case there's a spot where I missed a little glue. And it's really soft, and I can just push out the bubbles. And it just has the right amount of pressure. It's just a really great, if I had to pick one tool, it's a good clean sponge, the most important one. See the wallpaper dried a little here, the sponge is nice and wet, and I can just make it all work. So once you're satisfied with smoothing things out with the sponge, my next favorite tool is a clean, dry cloth. And I wipe off a lot of the water, and again, I work to smooth out any bubbles that are remaining. The next step is to trim the edges. And to do this, you're going to want a really sharp razor blade tool. This is a great one specifically for trimming wallpaper, but be careful, it is very sharp and you could hurt yourself. I've done it. Again, you want to trim the wallpaper at the top. And I like to do it when the wallpaper is dry. So it'll cut. If you try to do this when the wallpaper is wet, the wallpaper will bunch and tear and rip. And remember at the beginning when I said to be patient and to plan to do things slowly? This is one of the reasons why it just takes time.